Good morning. Welcome to our Blue Earth County Commissioners meeting for April 8th, 2025. Our first order of business would, could you please stand and join me for the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. Agenda review.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
I'll move the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
I'll move to recess for Economic Development Authority.
Thank you, Kevin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we will call to order our Economic Development Authority. Agenda review. Bob,
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to this agenda either.
do I have a motion for the agenda?
So moved.
Mark, thank you. Is that a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Minutes.
Move the minutes.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we got a capital improvement project. Luke, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you again. Please identify yourself for the record.
Morning.
Luke Peterson with the City of Mankato's Facilities Department. I'm the facility supervisor. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. I'm here to present the agenda item to accept bids for the 2025 Blue Earth County Public Housing Deck Replacement Project. On Friday, March 28th, we accepted bids, and Swedberg Carpentry of Lake Crystal was apparent low bidder at $59,225 with conforming documents. This bid total does include a bid alternate to replace a deck at 409 3rd Avenue in Mapleton, Minnesota. In the event we got favorable pricing, staff did budget $60,000 for the base scope of this project and is proposing to use a portion of the remaining funds from the Breckenridge landscaping project for a construction contingency in the amount of $6,000, which is 10%. So we can accept the alternate bid as well. With all that said, facilities staff is recommending awarding the base and alternate bids that we received for this project.
All right. Thank you, Luke. Any questions from the board? What are the wishes?
We'll move it. Okay.
Got a motion and a second to approve the bids with the alternate. Any discussion?
Looks good.
Yeah, another project well done. So bids are coming in favorably for you guys.
Yeah, that's
good to
nice.
see.
Yeah, it is.
All right. If there's no other comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Luke. Go
Thank
build
you.
us some decks.
Great.
Thanks.
I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you, Kevin. For a second. Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Item number 4, County Ditch 5 public hearing. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the County Ditch 5 hearing for the proposed petition to outlet into Minnesota Statute 103E401. Agenda review.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda.
Do I have a motion for the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, today the purpose of today's hearing is to present the engineer's report as well as the viewer's report and to also take public comment on the proposed petition of outlet addition lands into Blue Earth County Ditch 5. The order of business for the hearing is as follows. Staff will review the jurisdictional documents. We will hear from the appointed engineer, the appointed viewer, and when we're done with all that, we will open it up for public comment. I will ask Ryan Hineker to review the jurisdictional documents at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hearing notices were mailed out on March 25th of 2025. Notice was posted outside of this Blue Earth County Historic Courthouse. Notice was and will be published in the Mankato Free Press on March 25th, April 1st, April 8th, and April 15th. I also have a quick memo. Blue Earth County Ditch 5 watershed is approximately 10,200 acres in size, located primarily in Danville and Meadow townships. A petition to outlet additional acres in the CD5 was received on September 27th of 2024. Drainage Authority Attorney K.L.R. Van Bruggen of Rinky Noonan reviewed the petition and supporting documents and found it to be adequate for these proceedings. On October 22nd of 2024, the Drainage Authority appointed engineer Charles J. Brand of ISG to review the petition and ordered an engineer's review report be submitted to the Drainage Authority for the proposed effects to the County Ditch 5 public drainage system. The Drainage Authority also appointed viewer Mark Behrens to prepare a viewer report with recommendations for an outlet fee and benefits for the property. Both reports have been received by Blue Earth County Drainage Management staff. On March 25th of 2025, by assigned findings and order, the County Ditch 5 Drainage Authority set a time and date for this final hearing for the proposed petition to outlet additional lands into County Ditch 5. Notice for this proceeding was not originally noticed properly under Minnesota Statute 103E401. Corrected hearing notice publication is running once a week for 3 consecutive weeks. My action requested for today's hearing, we are asking that the Drainage Authority hold the hearing today as noticed, but request the Drainage Authority continue this hearing to a date and time certain, being April 22nd of 2025 at 9 a.m. in the second floor Board of Commissioners room located at the Blue Earth County Historic Courthouse. In light of the defective publication notice and it needing to be published one time a week for 3 consecutive weeks there.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Do you have a motion to accept the jurisdictional documents?
So moved.
Second? Got a motion and a second for jurisdictional documents. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I will now ask the ISG staff to come forward and report on the engineer's report. Please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning, board members. My name is Jacob Mueller. I'm with ISG. Oh, yeah.
Good
We
morning,
might have to
Jake.
try a different connection here. I don't know that I'm gonna find what I'm looking for down there.
Only about 50 to choose from.
Yeah, there's a couple. Thank you.
Here's one.
Oh, yeah, let's give that a
Let's
try.
try that one.
Sweet.
Oh, you go like this.
Potentially. Oh,
No?
that's 2 sides
Well,
of
that's
the
the
same
same
cord.
one.
Yeah, that ain't gonna help. If we can't get it up, I can always just walk through a little bit.
Oh, man. I don't even see anything that looks.
Can you guys just pull up the report?
Do we have it?
It's part of the packet.
Oh,
Bob, can you go to the viewers report in the packet?
this all looks like a mouse.
You're the engineer's report, yeah, it'll be a PDF.
Viewers
It's either
report.
just a mouse or a color cord.
The ISG one.
That's fine. We can just pull up the report. We can still talk through the same time.
There you go.
That'll work.
This one.
Yeah, if you just want to scroll down to the overall map, it should give us pretty much everything we need. Everything else should kind of be in everyone's handouts. That'll work. Alrighty. Sorry for that delay. Again, my name is Jacob Mueller with ISG. Along with Chuck Brandel, we performed the hydraulic analysis for the system to determine the impacts of this additional lands to the CD5 system. A bit of background on County Ditch number 5. We're primarily within Meadow and Danville townships. The watershed itself drains a little over 10,000 acres, along with draining Blue Earth and Waseca Judicial Ditch number 3. The land use is predominantly agricultural row crop, but with a very large percentage of wetland along the public infrastructure. Oh yeah, here, I can lean a little closer and talk a little louder.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the existing watershed is comprised mostly of open ditch. There are a few public tile lines. Our analysis for this additional lands was predominantly for the open ditch and the areas that would be impacted by the addition. These being the culverts on the main line open ditch downstream of the addition. So a little bit of background on the Seagar property. We're looking at the northwest quarter of Danville Township. It's kind of in the west central portion of the watershed. The immediate outlet is crossing number 8 on that overall map and in your handout. This is a culvert on the main line, crossing 613th Avenue. A bit more on the property. The legal records note that it has 161.2 acres of land. When you remove road right-of-way, that gets reduced to about 155.8 acres. As we measure, using the latest viewer's boundary, there's about 56.78 acres presently within the CD5 system. The petition notes that there's 50.5 acres. And then, so this would mean that there's about 99 acres outside of the CD5 system presently. Whereas the petition notes about 110. So small discrepancy there in comparing the petition and the updated viewers watershed boundary that we have. Another good note here is that the areas that aren't presently within the CD5 watershed have an overland flow boundary to the east. So looking at kind of the zoomed in map on your handout, you can see the areas in purple are those areas outside of the watershed, and the areas in green are the ones inside the watershed, with the red boundary being the present legal watershed boundary. You guys don't have an elevation map, but the overland flow path for these areas in purple is to the east into the Cary property, kind of on the western edge of that purple boundary there. So a significant portion of overland runoff could still, yeah, so that's not in the handout, just in the presentation. So there is an overland flow path to the west. So when we ran hydraulic calculations, you can see this in the first map of your handout. We looked at the first 8 crossings. These are the ones that would be impacted by this addition. So looking at those at the very outlet using Manning's drainage capacity, basically looking at a drainage coefficient in inches per day of what the system is capable of, and using all fully functional drainage infrastructure. There's about a 1% reduction in available capacity at the very outlet. And then at the immediate outlet, crossing number 8 or 613th Avenue, there's about a 5.5% reduction in capacity. So with all of this and knowing these reductions in capacity, overland flow in this area will still path to the west outside of the watershed. So as this area would get incorporated into the system, tiled into the system, it would only facilitate to function to reduce soil moisture content, and in very large events where the system does experience flooding on agricultural lands, that excess flooding would still path to the west outside of the watershed for this specific area. Additional to that, CD5 contains a disproportionately large amount of storage in the form of wetlands within its boundaries and along public infrastructure, making it unlikely that any slight increases in flows resultant from this would have any impact on ponding on agricultural lands or in infrastructure. So with all that, the engineer believes that this addition will increase total runoff volume to a slight degree, but will not increase overtopping frequencies of downstream roads, nor impact flooding within the CD5 system. That's about all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jake. Does anybody have any questions for Jake at this point? Okay. Thank you for that report. At this time, I will call up the viewers. Mark.
All right, good morning. I'm Mark Behrens. I'm the viewer that worked on this. I'll turn this way so I don't have my back to the public, if that's all right. I'm a member of the Minnesota Viewers Association. There's 4 or 5 trainings a year a person can go to become accredited There's 3 or 4 different groups throughout the state that do this viewing, so whether it's our group or myself or one of the other groups in the state, the process would be similar on how they determine benefits on property. There's 5 items that are used to determine benefits on property. Obviously, how many acres you've got within the watershed, your soil type, your location rate, where your property is physically away from the county open ditch or county tile, whether or not you've got county tile on your property, and the efficiency of the system. Those 5 items come together to determine a benefit value. Each parcel within the system gets a benefit value. That's divided by the total benefits in the system to get your percent of total benefits. So when there's repair or maintenance on the system, obviously the whole bill has to be paid. Each parcel pays their percent of the bill on their parcel. I've handed out some maps and some information to the commissioners, so you've got everything that I'm talking about, you've got in front of you too. We build a book like this on every single system that we work on, so that if anyone has a question on how we determined benefits or their soil type or their neighbor's soil type, we're always happy to show them how we did our math and did the numbers on their property. We did not do the redetermination on this County Ditch 5, but the process would have been similar on how that group determined benefits. We've got a standard way we determine benefits, and then we adjust our numbers up or down according to what we've learned from landowners. We're talking about County Ditch 5 today. As Jacob said, I think this system was established in 1903. There were some improvements made to it back in 1984, 89, 2005. It was redetermined back in 2019. The group at that time determined there's 7,850 acres that are benefited in that system. Jacob talked about 10,000. There's another County Ditch 3 that works its way through this system. That's the discrepancy there. The viewer team in 2019 determined there were $6,348,000 worth of benefits on that system. What's happening today is a petition into the system. The engineers have determined that there's 99 acres that would be petitioning into the system. What happens there's 2 different things that happen. There's a payment of an outlet fee and then determining benefits for those 99 acres. The outlet fee, that's basically buying into the system. The landowners within that watershed, that's 7,800 acres, have paid for and maintained that system since 1903. So these 99 acres have not paid toward that since then. There's about 50 acres, there's 161 acres in the Seeger parcel. There's about 50 acres that are currently benefited and in County Ditch 5. The engineers have decided there's 99 acres, like I said, outside the watershed that would like to petition in. So those 99 acres basically have to buy into that system because the other landowners have paid for and maintained it. So the viewers, myself, look at how much money has been paid on that system. We've got information from the Drainage Department that since 2015, there's been $1,475,000 paid to maintain that system. Obviously, money before that too. So the viewers determined a fee for those 99 acres to buy into the system. I just did the math. I determined that the acres petitioning in should have a one-time outlet fee of $175 per acre. to buy into that system. So there would be the 99 acres times the 175, there's $17,325 to buy into that system. I've done a lot of these petitions. I've got 5 of them sitting on my desk in the office right now. We've had outlet fees of anywhere from $25 if they're petitioning into a system that's not much of a system, nothing's been spent on it over the years, up to $300 an acre to buy into the system. It varies. It's a judgment call by the viewer. I've determined that a fair amount here would be the $175 an acre, one-time fee. The second piece of this, those 99 acres, if this is passed, need to help pay for future repair and maintenance on this system. So the 50 acres that are currently in the system have an average benefit value of $657 an acre benefit on the 50 acres that are in the system. I've determined that those 99 acres should use that same $657 per acre benefit on those acres added to the benefits on the total system, so that that whole parcel, the Seeger parcel, would help pay going forward repair and maintenance on that system. So currently the 50 acres has $33,200 worth of benefits. The 99 acres times that 657 would add $65,000 worth of benefits. So you add them together, there would be $98,000 worth of benefits on this Seeger parcel in the County Ditch 5 system, so that all of those acres going forward would help pay for repair and maintenance on that system. Normally on a system, when you've got 2 county watersheds sitting next to each other, this 99 acres might have been in another county system, then you would reduce those benefits on that other county system. These 99 acres go to public water, so there isn't any reduction, anything we have to work with there. So a lot of numbers and a lot of information. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
All right, thank you, Mark, for that report. Any questions from the board at this point? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Jacob and Mark, for your reports. At this time, we open it up for public comment portion of the hearing. If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. Please note this meeting is being recorded and there is a 5-minute time limit. The county administrator will give you a 1-minute warning and let you know when your used time is up. In addition, the board may restrict or limit time allotted to a person whose remarks are repetitive or not relevant to the matter under the consideration by the board. At this time, is there anyone wishing to comment on County Ditch 5? Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to comment on County Ditch 5, please come to the podium and state your name for the record. Last time, anyone wishing to comment, please come to the podium and state your name for the record. Okay, hearing no comments, I will close the public comment portion of the meeting. Any questions from the board at this point? None? Very good reports.
So what happens now as we continue to April 22nd?
Yes, so we have no public comment here, so we will just move this to the next one, and then if there's anyone that picks it up at the notice, we'll have another public hearing, and then we'll move forward with our action.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chair, it'll be a continuation of today's hearing with just the public comment portion being continued.
Yep, we won't hear all the rest of it again.
But there will be no new information
Correct.
No, sir.
presented at that meeting except if there would be public comment.
Correct.
Correct. And there was no public comment today, so we don't have anything to work on for that either.
But my concern is making sure, you know, I'll just ask it from the farmer perspective, do I have to come back on the 22nd when these guys are want to be planting corn
No,
and know what's coming on?
no, you don't. The representative from ISG and Mr. Behrens will be at the 22nd meeting, but no, folks do not have to come back for a second hearing if they don't feel that there's comment to give.
There's a good chance that everybody's been in, but we have to follow the
Correct, the
the
notification.
the
requirements.
notification process,
Yep.
and unfortunately, we missed that on our end.
Correct. Yep.
I think most of the people are aware of it. We've had some other meetings, and so, but this is, it's unfortunate, but
Yep.
we'll have to muddle through it.
We should.
Someone could show up at the next public hearing, but if it's something alarming, we would just have to deal with that at that time, so.
And the possibility of continuation again, if there's new information.
There could be,
Yeah.
if there's new information that's really relevant that we think that the rest of the public
Wants to know
would
about.
want to know, we don't have a full audience that day, I think that would be in our best interest to continue it again.
Okay, that's all I asked.
We will make sure we cover those bases. We'll check the group and work off of that. But yeah, we certainly will keep everybody in the loop. If something drastically changes, I would not hesitate to continue it again, so.
Well, I would move then that we continue this hearing, date and time certain, April 22nd, 9:00 a.m. in this location.
All right.
Second the motion.
Got a motion and a second to change this meeting to, or continue this meeting to April 22nd, 2025, 9 a.m. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? This meeting is continued. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you, Chuck and Jacob, and anybody in the audience. If you do have some questions or comments on the process, feel free to reach out to the staff. All right, at this time, it looks like we got a whole lot of other drainage stuff to deal with here, too. So we'll keep you guys going.
Okay. Next two items on the agenda is to appoint viewers for redeterminations of benefits.
County Ditch 27 viewers.
Yeah. Redetermination of benefits for County Ditch 27. The Blue Earth County Ditch 27 watershed is approximately 3,000 acres in size and located in Lincoln, Butternut Valley, Garden City, and Judson Townships. The current benefits listing was created in 1970. A redetermination of benefits is required to reflect present-day land values and establish a one-rod buffer strip. At today's meeting, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, we are requesting an order to appoint viewers to complete a redetermination of benefits for County Ditch 27.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for appointing viewers to Ditch 27. Any questions? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is regarding the redetermination of benefits for County Ditch 87. The Blue Earth County Ditch 87 watershed is approximately 200 acres in size and is located in Garden City and Judson Townships. The current benefits listing was created in 1962. A redetermination is required to reflect present-day values, land values, and establish a one-rod buffer strip. At today's meeting, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, we are requesting an order to appoint viewers to complete a redetermination of benefits for County Ditch 87.
Do I have a motion? Got a first, got a second. Got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the County Ditch 87 viewers.
All right, I've got item number 3 with County Ditch 56 with a petition to impound, reroute, and divert, appointment of engineer. Blue Earth County Ditch 56 watershed is approximately 9,400 acres in size and primarily located in Garden City Township. On March 11th of 2025, a petition to impound, reroute, and divert portions of County Ditch 56 was received on behalf of petitioners Blue Earth County Soil and Water Conservation District and the Liz Sant Disclaimer Trust and Michael R. Sant. This proposed petition is the direct result of being awarded Bowser grant funding for this proposed sediment retention pond in the amount of $596,075 with a 10% match in the amount of $60,000 being donated by City of Lake Crystal and local water group Crystal Waters Project. Drainage Authority Attorney Cale R. Van Bruggen of Rinky Noonan reviewed the petition and determined it meets all necessary requirements for this proceeding under Minnesota Statute 103E.227. Action requested at today's meeting, we are asking the Drainage Authority to make a motion to accept the filing of the petition to impound reroute in divert portions of County Ditch 56. On behalf of Blue Earth County Soil and Water Conservation District, the Liz Sant Disclaimer Trust, and Michael R. Sant. That Charles J. Brandel of ISG be appointed as the engineer for the Drainage Authority. That Drainage Authority Legal Counsel prepare and negotiate an easement subject to final approval by the board. Also contingent on the approval of the proposed petition, that upon the filing of the engineer's advisory report and all necessary legal documents, including easements for this proceeding, that Drainage Authority staff work to set a hearing date and time and notice this hearing is required under Minnesota Statute 103E.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for County Ditch 56 engineer appointment. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, my final item is County Ditch 77, a petition for removal. A petition for removal was received by Property Environmental Resources Drainage staff on February 11th of 2025. Under Minnesota Statute 103E.805, the petitioner Jonathan T. Gensel is seeking for removal of properties from County Ditch 77, a public drainage system, including removal of benefits on a petitioned properties. The petition alleges that the petition acres are no longer benefited by the County Ditch 77 public drainage system. The petition states that no part of County Ditch 77 provides an outlet to the petition area, and that by removing the petition area will in no way prejudice the remaining property owners or property remaining in the County Ditch 77 public drainage system. Blue Earth County Drainage Attorney Cale R. Van Bruggen from Rinky Noonan has reviewed the proposed petition documentation and found them to be adequate for the proceedings. Attorney Van Bruggen also recommends that an engineer and a viewer be appointed to provide their respective review reports for the proposed petition for removal under Minnesota Statute 103E.805. Action requested at today's Drainage Authority meeting. We are asking the Drainage Authority to approve the draft findings in ordering the appointment of an engineer and viewer for the proposed petition for removal under Minnesota Statute 103E.805. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ryan. What are the wishes of the board?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to appoint an engineer and viewers for Ditch 77. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck and Jacob. All right, looks like we got some Justice Center roof repairs to talk about. Tim Edwards from Facilities, good morning.
Good morning. Well, today I have a recommendation to look for your guys' approval for adding some roof repairs, or roof replacement, should say, at the Justice Center. As you know, end of February here, we had some roof damage at the Justice Center with some strong winds. Insurance is covering most of the section of B on the roof and part of, I'll call it right off of C, kind of above the jail, for the damage that was occurred back in February. We're looking at completing 3 other sections of the roof up there, and that would pretty much complete the Justice Center re-roof for the entire building, besides garage space. Back in 2023, there was another section of roof that blew off up there as well, and we got that all repaired. That is all secured, but we're looking at kind of completing the roof on that building. I had like 1.5 mil in the budget for 2026, and so without that being in the budget as well, I'm here today to try and see if we can move forward with this earlier. Kind of a little better setup, I guess, because the roofers were already be mobilized and doing
Right.
the work, so we got a little lower price as well to finish the rest of that roof while we're there. So and that came out to the $199,870 for the 3 other roofs to be repaired there.
Right, questions for Tim?
And how much of this is covered by insurance?
There's it's like a little over 1.1 million that's covered for the rest of the roof that.
That the insurance covered?
That's insured, was covered.
So this 199 is not covered.
Correct.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the extra on the roof repair, on top of the insurance repair. And that part of the roof, is that the original roof, Tim, which isn't that old?
Correct,
It's only
yes.
12 or
Yep,
15
original
years
roof
old.
on everything.
Is it just needs to be replaced? I mean, I think when we bought that roof, it was supposed to be a 40-year roof. but
Yeah, I
it's
think that
been
one,
40 years. but-
15-year warranty on that.
That was
on the
15
roof.
year?
Yep, so, and we're
Okay.
right at that point, so,
Yeah.
at the Justice Center, so.
All right, that's what it takes to fix them. And they can do that right away, I'm assuming?
As soon as we get
Okay.
contract signed,
Good.
they said they're ready to go. They do have one other big roof project, which is the Walmart distribution that they're doing, but
Okay.
they said they can hit
This
ours
first.
before Walmart's ready, so.
All right.
Great.
Okay, I got a motion and a second for the extra cost on the roof repairs on the Justice Center. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Tim.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
Appreciate it.
All right, move on to item number 7. Looks like we got a contract for some cloud mitigation with Miss Carrie Harvey from IT. Hi, good morning.
Morning, Chair, Commissioners.
Good to see you.
Good to see you all. All right, so what I'm bringing forward today is a change in how we would use our Tyler Technologies Munis ERP. That's our financial system. It's currently based on-premise in our data center. We're proposing putting that into the cloud with Tyler Technology. That's the roadmap that they have established that they want all their customers to move towards so that they can keep getting enhancements and improvements to make things more efficient. And if you stay on-prem, you're only going to get the break fixes. They're not going to do any of the enhancements anymore for that on-prem site. So this system, what I'm recommending is that we move towards the cloud. We have this in the budget this year, and we did plan to do it as a 2025 project, and it is about $120,000 over what we currently pay. So, I mean, it is a significant investment, but we know that there will be a lot of enhancements that will come with it, especially around human services, HR, and finance.
All right, you've heard the request.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the contract. It's $120 per year, an ongoing cost.
120, yes, ongoing,
Yep.
correct.
Yeah, it took my breath away when I read it.
I know.
It's expensive technology.
Yeah, it is.
So you have everything on premises now?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct. Yep.
And this goes to the cloud, is there a backup for it then, or in the
They
cloud?
have redundancies in the cloud.
In the
Yes.
cloud?
Yep.
But it's all in the cloud?
Correct,
So
sir.
there's nothing.
Yes, yes.
If the cloud goes, I'm getting way past my expertise. Forget it. I'm
They
just
have redundant
confused.
data centers in different areas of the country, so
Okay.
if one side goes down, they're able to spin it up on the other side.
Spin it up on, all right.
Yep.
I like it being on our own premises, but that's just me. All right. Any other discussion? Okay, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll move down to Mr. Ryan Tilges with Public Works. Item number 8. Good morning, Ryan.
Commissioners.
Morning.
Looks like you're gonna get your fill of us today, aren't you?
You'll be sick of me before it's all said and done. You might have been before it even started.
I was thinking it was the other way around, but if that's the road you want to take.
All right, our first action item today is consideration of MnDOT agreement number 1057129 for state aid project 007614017 for local bridge replacement program grant funding. This agreement provides $194.50 of local bridge replacement program funds funding to match $170,199.50 of local funds for replacement of this box culvert bridge at CASA 14. I recommend approval of the local bridge replacement program grant agreement.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the grant agreement. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, action item number 2 is consideration of the resolution included in the grant agreement for said grant agreement number 1057129. Again, these redundant resolutions are required by MnDOT agreement standards. I'd recommend approval of said resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the following resolution. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Action item number 3 is consideration of final payment for state aid project 007-602-009 and 602-010 for box culvert replacements on CASA 2. The contractor was Selly Excavating Incorporated. Original contract amount $309,213.50. Final contract payment amount $5,992.94 for a total final contract amount of $314,886.37. I recommend approval of final contract payment number 3.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second for the final payment. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, action item number 4, consider bids for the 2025 gravel hauling contracts. We were down one bidder from last year with the previous low bidder from last year, W. Lawrence and Company, not bidding this year. However, the unit prices from Max Johnson Trucking, who was the second bidder last year, the unit price per ton mile is the same, and the loader price per ton mile or per ton is actually down 2 cents. So good bids overall, especially in comparison to last year. I would recommend award of the contract to the low bidder, Max Johnson Trucking, for $260,200.
Motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second for Max Johnson for the gravel hauling. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Action item number 5, consider bids for the 2025 maintenance striping contract. As you recall, these went up dramatically the last few years. We were pleased to see good bids this year. We received 2 bids, two bids this year. One from Sir Lancelot, who was the apparent low bidder, and then second bid was Vogel Traffic Services, up a little bit higher. You will notice that the overall price is down quite a bit, but if you look closely, we did reduce the quantities this year because we had a relatively light winter. We didn't have the mechanical scraping of the plows on the roads as much as we traditionally have, so I think our staff thought it was wise to reduce the contract quantities a little bit to reflect that lesser winter. We did also see a slight reduction in bid prices from 2024. So the paint striping went down about 10 cents a foot or so, and then the beads stayed the same. So consistent pricing. We're seeing that at least level off. I would recommend award to Sir Lancelot.
Move it.
Got a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the maintenance striping contract? Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, our next action item for consideration is consideration of bids for the 2025 bituminous overlays stated project 007-611015 and others. This includes overlays on County Stated Highway 11, which was reconstructed last year. So as the board may recall, a practice that we like to conduct is when we regrade these roads, put in new drainage crossings. We like to wait a year or more to put the final wearing course on, so they're posted over one spring as a 9-ton road in the interim condition, and then we'd like to put the wearing course on subsequently a year later as part of our overlay program. So you'll see 2 of the roads in this program, CASA 11 and CASA 13, are both reconstruction projects from previous years that we're finally putting that final wearing course lift on, and we've got County Stated Highway 39 in the center of the county. We received 3 bids, with Minnesota Paving and Materials coming in as the low bidder. Our engineer's estimate was $2,117,595.83. MPM's bid came in at $1,809,716.76, or 14.54% under the estimate. The second bid, Hewlin Brothers, came in 10.68% under the estimate, and Central Specialties, the third bid, came in at 6.5% over the estimate. With that being said, I would recommend award to Minnesota Paving and Materials.
So moved. Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second for the overlays. Any discussion, questions? Kevin?
Not so much related to the bids or whatever, but I think if possible, we need to do a better job of trying to communicate that. There's a lot of frustration. We just built a new road and we didn't get a 10-ton road.
Oh, sure.
I thought the county rebuilt everything to 10-ton.
Gotcha.
You know, just, and I don't know how we do it, if we do it as road postings go on or incorporate it some way, but there were, you know, I got a lot of questions on, really, we just built a new road and it's still posted.
Yeah, and we try to cover that at the open house meeting, but I'm sure just that the amount of time that lapses from having that to project completion, people may forget if they were there to listen to that conversation, but I think we could.
It doesn't matter till they see the flags.
Yeah, maybe that'd be a good communicator item or something like that in the future for us to just put in of which roads and why they're in the interim 9 tons, or perhaps even a mailing to residents on the project.
Thank you
for that.
Good clarification. Any other discussion on the overlays? Hearing none, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Action item number 7, consideration of bids for County Road 156 bridge replacement. This is a dual box culvert bridge. And with that being said, the engineer's estimate was $729,881.75. Minowa Construction was the low bidder on the project at $517,183, 29.14%. R&E Enterprises was 25% under the estimate. Midwest Contracting 24.19 under. Icon LLC 23.45. Newman Excavating 20.98 under the estimate. Under the estimate, and then Landwehr Construction was 4.52% under the estimate. So really good bids. I think we're starting to see box culvert prices coming back down to earth now that we've got this manufacturing issue sorted out. I think the industry has responded. There's another new manufacturing facility online, so it's helped supply meet demand considerably better. With that being said, we also try to offer flexibility in our bids for these box culvert projects so that the contractor has a long window to come in. When they get there, they've got a couple of weeks to get it done, but they've got flexibility within their schedule. With that being said, I would recommend award to Minowa Construction Incorporated.
So moved.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second on the 156 bridge replacement. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll move on into information items. Please interject any questions as they come up. County State Highway 29 bridge replacement project. The road was closed to traffic March 17th. The old bridge has been removed. Pile for the abutments have been driven. And Minowa, as the contractor, is placing steel and forming the bridge abutments in preparation to pour concrete on those this week. And then I think by next week, they'll actually have bridge beams set on top of those bridge abutments. So moving right along. CASA 9 bridge removal, the contractor is still working on demolishing the piers and removing the pier piling, so they've effectively still got the outer piers and abutments to address. So slow going there. CASA 5 from Riverfront Drive to Summit Avenue. The project is under design. 60% plan comments were provided to Bolton and Mink. Utility relocation coordination is beginning, just meeting with the utilities to where's your stuff at, where's it going to go, start preparing your crews and getting materials available for it. We're still waiting for final direction from the city on their utilities with respect. It doesn't look like they're going to do the excessively deep sewer trunk main, and they're looking at more cost-effective solutions. So we're looking for a final direction from the city again because it is their utilities. Bolton and Mink is working on developing the 90% plans for the county review. In addition to that, I know from a few months ago we talked about the concrete pavement rehabilitation segment at the Highway 14 interchange and pumping the brakes on that as part of this project in consideration of a roundabout interchange. So we still have that on our radar and acknowledge we do need to get an open house meeting scheduled for that where we could issue notices and invite the public to comment on it. And then obviously that would have to go in our future capital improvement plan. But with that being said, I think we're hoping to just push that down the line a little bit into probably early summer where our staff have a little bit more availability. Right now is really our push to get all these projects out the door. So we're looking at doing that likely maybe June or so, if that works for the board. All right. County State Highway 15 and 28 in St. Clair, the plans are completed and are being submitted to MnDOT for approval this week. We'll plan to open bids on May 14th for county board consideration on May 27th. CSAH 10 from the West County line to CSAH 20 has been advertised for bids opening on April 30th for board consideration on May 6th. CSAH 40 slope repair project documents have been submitted to MnDOT state aid. That is a federal aid project. We got about $320,000 of federal dollars for river stabilization type of work. And with that being said, we need full approval of those documents because of the federal funding. We still need to provide them with a full right-of-way certificate, again, to meet the federal requirements, but the landowner's been very cooperative there, understanding the project need. We'll advertise for bids once MnDOT approves the project and anticipate construction in the fall. 10 from Vernon Center to 1 mile east, including the bridge replacement. Design is being coordinated between MnDOT Bridge Office and WIDSETH. Relatively quiet on that one. I know they're working behind the scenes on the road and bridge plans. County Road 184.
Timeline, expected timeline?
Well, so that one's in the CIP for 2026. And I was just looking at the budget for that yesterday. We did not anticipate getting local bridge dollars to replace it. Kind of into anticipation of what we're seeing now of not having anything, and the bonding is not looking very optimistic for bridge replacement funds this year based on a lot of the meetings I've been in. So if we want to get the bridge done, get it in line for bonding dollars. If they become available, great. If not, I think we could use a combination of our county state aid highway dollars and our local option sales tax to keep that project moving forward.
To stay on the 26.
Again, yep, to try to stay on 2026 reconstruction. Yep. 184 box culvert replacement. We've removed the trees on that to meet the northern long-eared bat requirements. Contractor's not provided start date yet. We anticipate that'll begin likely in May. Again, not a big rush, couple week project to get it in and out. County Road 139 bridge replacement has been advertised for April 30th bid opening, board consideration May 6th. And then last but certainly not least, Victory Drive. No official start date has been determined yet. However, the contractor would like to start the project a few weeks prior to the May 19th contract start date with the county's approval. I think we're so inclined to let them start early and hope that they get done on time. So with that being said, we would anticipate likely early May. We just haven't seen a final date from them yet. We'll be having a pre-construction meeting soon.
Did I miss something on 13? Or
I'm sorry, yeah, I had that included. It was carried over from the previous one.
okay.
I don't have any updates on CSAH 13. I apologize for that. Maintenance activity updates. We've been blading gravel roads, reclaiming shoulders, cutting wood, siding the new garage and replacing the siding at the house at Duck Lake Park, working on the pier with the DNR at Lone Pine, which is off CSAH 48 on Madison Lake, and replacing the railing and floats, brooming intersections, and we'll start washing bridge decks this week. Good maintenance activities. In addition, they're wrapping up cleaning and painting snow equipment before it gets put away for the season. Quick update also on the Monarch Butterfly Candidate Conservancy Agreement. Our final application was submitted and approved, and we need to have a kickoff meeting this spring to begin the program facilitation. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, we were also noticed, is proposing to list the monarch butterfly as a threatened species with species-specific protections. Try saying that 3 times fast. Under the Endangered Species Act, that there's a 90-day public comment period for the proposed listing, which opened on March 12th, 2025. I don't anticipate commenting on it because we are in position where we should have some safeguards in place of having been accepted prior to it becoming threatened. And then the last item on my agenda is the Rapidan Dam update. I'll try to kind of go through that relatively quickly here. The Kasan 9 Bridge, we participated in the weekly PMT meetings. On March 11th, we discussed preferred all alignments and profile refinement were discussed. Several of these items we'll be discussing today during our work session, so I won't go into depth on that. We also briefly touched on public and stakeholder engagement. Soil borings are actually taking place now, and additional coordination meeting with Barb we'll touch on. On March 18th, we had another weekly bridge design project management team meeting and discussed again the refinement of the pier locations and how it will contextually fit the site. A lot of this is just really how does this fit within the site, where does the river channel go? Again, Matt's going to talk about that in depth here today. Where we tie in with the roadway and the bridge cross section. Again, we're going to go into a lot of that today, so I'll kind of keep moving. Again, another meeting on March 25th, kind of more of the same as we refine the design of this project. And I think as we kind of get into more of the detailed project design items, I don't know that I'll include those in the memorandum other than that we were having those meetings, because I don't want to bore you to death with the details. I'll try to keep it high level for you. We move on to the Rapidan Dam. On March 4th, we electronically submitted the FERC license render update application. On March 8th through the 15th, I exchanged emails with Nathan Wallerstedt from the United States Army Corps of Engineers. Nathan initially advised us that there's current federal funding budget request process that's available and the timeline that's available with it. And this is with respect to the river or ecosystem restoration process. And so it's really looking at river stabilization and restoration. The Corps is building their fiscal year 2027 budget request, and he inquired about the county's interest in submitting a request to begin a study for ecosystem restoration of the Blue Earth River. During that conversation, we discussed the pros and cons of the timing of this request, because we think at earliest 2027 is when we would start the dam removal, but there's considerable risk that that may not even come to fruition due to the glut of agencies that we have to coordinate with, the permits we have to receive, and our dependency on all of those federal and state agencies and their timely responses. And again, the largest con is exactly that, the opportunity for the likelihood that the schedule will slide past 2027 to begin dam removal because of all of the oversight and permitting necessary. With the fact that we don't have completed plans, permits, or approvals or funding yet to remove the dam. We also discussed the uncertainty of the new total project cost and how much will be covered by FEMA, so we may have to be going to the state or other sources for additional funds to complete the project. He said he understood they're all valid concerns as we move forward. He doesn't have really a strong opinion either way. This was just an opportunity to request the funding, and he wanted us to have an opportunity to weigh in. So with that, today I want to talk about this with the county board, get direction from you. If you would like me to proceed with the fiscal year 2027 request, which again, if we recap that, it's a fiscal year request. It's got to go through federal congressional action, authorization, and then it's a couple of year study, and which we would be responsible for 50% of the study cost. It could be up to a $3 million study, and then it's kind of a determination on if the cost is justified. If the cost is justified, then it would go back for congressional authorization on actually funding a project, and this would be for just river stabilization, most likely upstream of the dam. I think there's some mixed opinion on if the river will somewhat stabilize itself over time as well.
Would they have an opportunity for this money in the out years?
In upcoming fiscal year solicitations, we could look at it. I'm assuming 2029 would be the next request cycle.
Yeah, 27 seems tight.
There's still just a lot of unknown at this point in time. But again, yeah, I think it seems like we should take care of, it's a lot to have happening in parallel. We've already got the bridge and the dam removal kind of happening in parallel, and there's some unknowns there with, will the river continue to scour as we build the bridge and after the bridge is done, and what kind of problems do we have there because the dam's not out? And then I think you throw another wrinkle on top of that with asking for a study of this type is, yeah, I'm not saying it's not doable, it's just, it's very complex.
I think so too.
That's, yeah.
And the question comes to it at some point, also I think for consideration is this a larger magnitude issue where perhaps the state or others are involved with, you know, the ecosystem restoration, and who's driving that campaign from the region or from the state of Minnesota?
Sure.
That question has not been answered yet.
Yeah, and it gets to the point where, and I know the study will help some of the engineering, but you know, we're spending a lot of money on studying this thing. Let's get some engineers going or some construction work done. It's like all the other river stuff. We spend all this money studying it. Let's get something done. I mean, how long are we going to study it? We know the dam's got to go. Get some contractors out there and start stabilizing the banks and building a river bank. I mean,
I wish we were at that point. I wish removal of the dam, you know, if we were with the FERC license still in place, obviously.
It's just amazing it's just taking so long.
With the FEMA money, it bogs everything down, and we've got to get all of those environmental approvals and processes done.
So all that process is still going on?
That's still moving forward. The dam removal process and with BAR and others, they're working on that as we speak. This is more likely the upstream river, you know, watershed, the floodplain, the upstream 3.5-4 mile river. As part of the dam removal project, we'll have to do some river stabilization effectively from the bridge kind of through the project limits through the county park.
Yep. Yeah, it sort of seems like a tight timeline. I would imagine it'll take plenty of staff time on your end too to try to deal with this. And the chances of getting it is probably.
It's hard to say. I don't have any experience with this. Yeah.
And we haven't got the greatest track record with some federal funding anyways. It seems to be a lot more tails with it than what we think at the front end. So if you're recommending we wait, I would support that. And if you're not recommending that, I think we should wait. But
yeah, my inclination would be to say that I think it's more prudent to see how some of these other things pan out first.
I agree.
Okay. So I'll respond to Nathan that the board would prefer we look at it again in an upcoming fiscal year.
Is that okay with the rest of the board? I mean, I just think it's just so much going on with it. And just one more thing I'll get frustrated about, that we ain't getting enough stuff done. So let's stick with the ones we got. Let's just stick with the ones we got.
Yeah. It's just really refreshing to be able to build roads and bridges again. I can actually see something get done, and our staff are doing what they're built to do and what they're trained to do, and it's good to see that. March 10th, we had another biweekly FEMA call, discussed the bridge kind of interim condition that I talked about, with the potential that the river's still got to run around that corner and bank around and run around the dam, and that there is some risk associated with that of scour with any major flood events. We're going to try to design the bridge accordingly with that interim condition in mind. FEMA's still working on the DDD, the detailed damage description, which is kind of the quantities. And they still don't have an answer about clarifying how potential hazard mitigation project for the Hruska property would affect the PA funding. From March 4th to 17th, we were in communications with a representative of the landowner west of the dam, obtaining permission to cross the property and obtain a soil boring on their property and in the park for the dam design. We did finally get that, and actually that work should begin finally here today. So they'll have to cross that field with a soil boring truck and some pickups carrying water and things like that. So we may have to work with them if there are any damages to the field. March 13th, bi-weekly meeting with BAR. They're nearly completing the river channel two-dimensional model. This is a very complex model, and they're running into river velocities kind of through the new river section are gonna be faster than they would like to see, which means there's higher risk of damage. So they're evaluating a lot of different options of how to do it right so we don't have problems down the road. And with that being said, that's why we're seeing a delay in some of the things we've asked for. They've been focusing on providing information to TKDA for the river channel and pier design. They're coordinating the soil borings. Again, those are happening, have happened last week and are continuing this week. I did ask them per our discussion to expedite the high-level cost estimate, which they did say they anticipate we'll be seeing that in June. They've got to get that river modeling done and to be able to put together. Otherwise, it's just kind of what I would term a swag estimate, and I don't know that we want to publicly air swag estimates. And if you want to ask me what a swag estimate is, I'll tell you when we're not on camera. But I think most of you know. Again, March 24th, another bi-weekly check-in with FEMA. We have completed the campground DDD and the Glory Lane DDD. The dam one is still underway, and the park one is nearly complete. It was subsequently completed. FEMA staff have been attending FERC license surrender coordination meetings. We also discussed the potential of the acquisition of the Haruska parcel where the home was and how that would work in coordination between the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program and the FEMA Public Assistance Program. And asking questions, we want to make sure that we're not going to prohibit or inhibit ourselves by using the hazard mitigation grant and ending up owning the property, and then that somehow placing limitations on what we can do with public assistance. On March 24th, we also had a meeting with Bolton and Mink, who is a sub-consultant to BAR, to discuss the dam and the website and the future content. March 26th, another bi-weekly call with BAR Engineering. Again, the hydraulic modeling is moving well. They're beginning to work on the EAW document. Soil boring work is beginning for BAR, and then they understand that the county's looking for that high-level cost estimate. It'll be done in June, hopefully. That's a high-level summary of so many conversations we've been having on that. Happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Any
Happy
questions
when
for
it's
Ryan?
done.
Thanks to
Hope I'm still on the board.
Yeah, right?
All right, Ryan, we'll see you in a few minutes for our
Thank you.
work session, and
Thanks,
then
Ryan.
tonight at the public open house, I would
Yes,
imagine.
yes, good point. If anybody else is interested, I know Commissioner Brunder will be there.
Oh,
But
Eagle Lake.
the public open house meeting for the Eagle Lake corridor study that we're going to be reviewing during the work session is tonight from 5 to 7. I think it's at the Legion.
Legion 5:30 presentation.
Presentation. Yeah, Andy's going to give the presentation.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move down to county attorney. Megan, reports in the packet. Did you have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add. As always, if there's any questions, please let me know and I can get those answered.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, looks like we're at administration.
Well, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the first item is the county board minutes for March 25th.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the county board minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
Move the bills.
Have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to pay the bills. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, tab 13 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. I have one action item for the board's consideration today, and that is authorization for the chair and county administrator to sign an agreement with the AFSCME group that represents our assistant county attorneys. We have reached a tentative agreement with this bargaining group for a 3-year agreement covering the years 2025 through 2027. Some of the major changes to the contract really involve adding paid family medical leave, cost sharing starting in 2026 based on the new state law there, sharing that at a 50-50 level. We also did negotiate with this group a cost share for our family high deductible health plan at a 85% employer share and 15% employee share. That's a slight change from what it had been previously, but not a significant change there in the cost shares. We did add employer-paid dental insurance to this plan for single coverage for our employees. And then we had wages that followed the pattern that had been established with other bargaining groups for 25, 26, and 27 at 3.25%, 3.5%, and 3.5%. And then there was some language change that ties in with the budget appeal settlement agreement in terms of providing the county attorney a little more discretion in terms of looking at the qualifications, experience, and performance as factors in terms of moving assistant county attorneys on the wage scale. And so we're bringing forward this agreement for the board's consideration and consideration today.
I'll move approval.
Second?
Got a motion and a second for the assistant county attorneys contract. Any discussion? This our last one, Bob, or?
This is the last one that had expired in 2024.
Okay, good. So you're all caught up for a bit.
For a minute.
For a couple months.
All right. If there's no other discussion, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Under informational items then, we have filled a correctional officer in our jail. We did receive a resignation of an on-call library clerk, so we've initiated recruitment to refill that position. We also received a resignation of a probation officer in our corrections department. Then we had a candidate withdraw their acceptance of employment prior to starting in the county attorney's office. So we'll go back out for recruitment there. Then we have initiated recruitment for a clerical specialist 2 in our human services department, as well as begun recruitment for a fraud investigator as well in human services. So happy to answer any questions that the board might have on those items.
Any questions for Bob? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on.
Tab 14 is a memorandum regarding change orders for the All Seasons Arena. Again, these change orders have been approved by the All Seasons Arena Joint Powers Board, but based on that agreement, we are required at each individual partner level to approve these 4 change orders. So we have a change order related to some steel framing. We also have some additional rental for a dehumidification unit while some repairs are being made. There's some heating in a vestibule area that results in some additional cost, and then some electrical work. The total of these change orders is $31,374.70. With the changes in the contingency fund, that reduction will bring the contingency down to $236,000.
Okay, do I have a motion for the change orders?
Yeah, move. So moved.
Have a second?
Yeah.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next 2 items are very similar in nature in terms of watershed plans. These are 2...
The county attorney budget.
Pardon me? Oh, pardon me, I jumped ahead. Excuse me. Tab 15 is the county attorney budget appeal settlement agreement. We have some language here that's been prepared by our labor attorney. The board will recall that at the end of December, the county attorney did file a budget appeal under Minnesota Statute 388.18 and 388.2. Really, the appeal related to the wages of the assistant county attorneys and the division chiefs. And so the county engaged with labor attorney Susan Hanson to work on a potential settlement agreement, which we're bringing forward today. The settlement agreement effectively gives the county attorney some additional discretion in terms of moving division chiefs or assistant county attorneys, depending on their his assessment of qualifications, their experience, their performance, and other relevant factors as permitted by law. So basically retains the existing grade system for the assistant county attorneys and the division chiefs. So we have our pay equity compliance still in place, but allows a little more discretion to move the attorneys within those scales on a little quicker pace. This would then allow for a little more consistency with what we see in the public defenders at the state level. And so this agreement did lead to some negotiation with the Assistant County Attorneys Union, which the board has just passed and they have tentatively agreed to, as well as extending then to our non-union division chiefs. So recommending approval, but certainly could stand for any questions that the board might have.
I will move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So this should stop the public defender conversation that we've been having, it seems like forever.
Yes, it should. I mean, the wages that the county had in place with the grade levels were actually very competitive, both in terms of other county attorney offices that we compare to, as well as the public defenders. It was the speed in which the public defenders advanced through their scale that was a concern, and this should help with that.
Perfect.
Other questions or comments? Thanks to Bob and Josh for working on this and getting it done, saving us a lot of extra work later, so I hope it works out well. All right, I have a motion and a second for the county attorney's budget appeal settlement. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
Well, I'm sorry that I jumped ahead of that one. I
think you guys
see
are
I
testing
need
me
new
today.
glasses. I missed that item. But, the next two items, tab 15 and 16, are related in terms of adoption of comprehensive watershed plans for both the Cannon River and the Cottonwood and Middle Minnesota. And so I think we should take action on each one of these individually, but I'll try and cover kind of the general purpose of each one of these together. And so this is a motion to adopt a plan. These are watersheds that do touch Blue Earth County, but on very small elements. The Cannon River has 2.8 square miles within Blue Earth County, and I think the Cottonwood is about 2.5% of the county land space. So very small portions of Blue Earth County. But in order for the county to continue to receive grant dollars for all of our watershed plans, we have to have watershed plans that cover the full county.
Oh.
And so while we haven't been active in either one of these watershed plans because of the small coverage area, we need to have formal action by the board to allow us to have the full county covered by a plan. So bringing forward both of these plans for consideration by the board and recommending approval.
All right, we will take the Cannon River watershed plan first. What are the wishes of the board?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So it's true, we haven't been active in either one of these two because they're smaller.
Right.
We've been we're lucky enough to have 4 others that we are very active in. But just because we weren't active in the planning process doesn't mean we're not part of the implementation or any funding for anything. So those residents, even though it's 2.8 acres and 2.5% or whatever, they're very small, those residents of the county are still have those dollars available in those two different watershed plans. So I guess my point is, we just haven't been as active because it's a smaller part, but that doesn't preclude us from those residents being able to partake and take advantage of things in the one watershed, one plan.
Mr. Chair and Commissioner, you're absolutely right. We'll continue to monitor those larger plans, the watershed plans, and certainly provide feedback where it's appropriate. So there will still be representation from Blue Earth County on those planning efforts.
Well, yeah, thank you for that clarification. That's good to know. All right, any other questions or comments on the Cannon River watershed plan? Hearing none, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. The Cottonwood Middle Minnesota River Plan. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, tab 18 in your packet is a memo regarding kind of another phase of the Public Works facility, and that is equipment items that are needed as a part of this project. So the building design does include owner-purchased items for the Public Works facility, and so bringing forward 3 items today for the board's consideration. These have been items that were budgeted as part of the overall project, and we're proposing that these items be purchased through a cooperative purchasing agreement in compliance with state law rather than doing a formal bidding process on our own. We'll use those state bid processes. And so the 3 items are vehicle hoists, fueling equipment and fuel canopy, and then lubrication equipment. You'll see the dollar amounts listed there. We do have a number of other owner-provided equipment items that will be coming forward, but as the building project has progressed, these are some critical items to get in place here as we kind of get ready for those next phases of pouring floors and those sorts of things.
Okay, what are the wishes of the board?
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the 3 items for owner-provided equipment. Any discussion? Stuff's not cheap.
It is not.
Should set us up very well, though. All right, if there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Tab 19 in your packet then is the financial status report for March 31st. So we're 1/4 of the way through our fiscal year. You'll see our total revenues are at $16.5 million with expenditures at $37.5. So $21 million kind of shortfall, so to speak, on revenues. We do expect a shortfall at this point in the year as we wait for our first half taxes, but this particular shortfall is a little larger because of the Public Works facility. You'll see that the building and equipment purchases line is about $9 million, so a lot of that additional deficit is related to those large capital purchases going on. Total revenue, you'll see then in those categories, state and federal is down a little bit from last year, so some of those revenues are lagging. Certainly expect to see those recover in the very near future. We're fortunate that our interest on investments continues to run strong. That is helping us out to some degree. On the expenditure side, personal services are up obviously with labor agreements and those sorts of things, but I think we also had 1 extra payroll in the first quarter this year compared to last year, so that contributes to that change as well. Moving on to the enterprise fund, then you'll see total revenues are 1.4 million against just under 800,000 of expenditures. Again, broken record time, but obviously cell development or large machinery can change that picture very quickly, but we haven't had either of those items in the first quarter of this year. The second page shows our cash and investment balances. You'll see at the top our total available funds are 68.5 million against a target of 74.4 million, so slightly under that target. Towards the bottom, you'll see a line titled Total County Funds. We're at just under 119 million, down some from prior years, but again, that's reflective of that deficit that we're experiencing at this point in the year. Also, maybe just point out a couple items. Towards the top, under the dedicated funds category, you see the library is in a negative status. That again, because of the library being so dependent on local levy, we don't have enough of a cash balance in that account until we get those first half taxes. But also maybe draw your attention to the very top, the Human Services and Public Works Department. Both fund balances are quite a bit lower than they've been in prior years, and so there are some headwinds, I guess I would describe them as we go. We know through prior discussions, especially on the Human Services Department, that we have some challenges within that budget that are starting to show up. Still obviously positive, but the trend line is in a direction that we just want to pay attention to. So happy to answer any questions the board might have on the financial status report.
Any questions? Okay. According to my agenda, that brings us to the end of our business. Anything else to bring forward? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move down to committee reports from the commissioners. I'll start with you today, Patty.
Thanks. March 26th, I attended the community ed meeting. March 31st, I had a TDS meeting and my NACO FIGA committee meeting. And on April 2nd, the department head meeting, and that's my 2 weeks. Pretty quiet.
All right. Thank you. Vance.
On March 26th through the 28th, I attended the AMC Leadership Summit. And on the 31st, I met with Commissioner Jamie Blees in reference to some MRCI issues. On the 1st of April, I had a NACO membership meeting. On the 2nd, I attended the department head meeting. On the 3rd, I had a Towards Zero Death steering committee meeting, and then I attended the Mankato Police Explorers pasta feed that evening. On the 4th, I had a Transportation Alliance Communications subcommittee meeting. Yesterday, I had an MRCI board meeting, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Vance. Mark?
Okay, mine, I just had March 27th had a Partners for Housing board meeting, and just then had April 2nd had a department heads meeting. That's all I had. Weeks.
That's all I had, Mark?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Kevin?
Since our March 25th board meeting that afternoon at a JD9 hearing that I attended, I also attended the AMC Leadership Conference. April 1st, I attended the Highway 60 open house in Lake Crystal at the council chambers with not only the contractor, DOT, Ryan, and our staff was there. It's interesting, you know, this is the 8th public engagement of that process where they've figured out what's going on, but nothing brings people out better than once you start putting up orange signs that talks about detour next week and things like that. Then you have a lot of questions. So there was a time at that old come and go open house, I don't think you could have put 5 more people in the council chambers. So, but a lot of good questions. Appreciated our public works staff there to kind of give our perspective as well. April 2nd was department head meeting I attended the April 5th Benco annual meeting, and yesterday was our Blue Earth One Watershed One Plan Policy Committee meeting. That completes my report.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Other than the meetings that have already been mentioned, I did have a couple ditch meetings, one joint ditch and then a landowner meeting on a small project that I have going on in my district. Had the Blue Earth County ECB board meeting, which was very well attended, but things are just going on as normal there. We're struggling with the SECB and trying to get some sort of alignment with them and get our funding, and we have put the rest of that committee on notice that we will not be doing the fiscal agent for them anymore. So they're trying to find either another volunteer from one of the other counties or some other way to handle that, which the discussion was there's no grants coming down, nothing to really manage this time, so why are we even worried about it? But a lot of discussion there. Had EMS that afternoon, things are going well there. A lot of things going on with the seat belt safety and the child safety seats. A lot of programs installing seats and getting them out in the public. And planning and zoning. Had several items on the agenda. Nobody testified at all, so they'll be coming here at the next meeting. Pretty straightforward. A couple really good projects. Had my emergency communication legislative meeting. Not a whole lot going on there. Still just trying to work through the legislative process, but as we all know, there ain't much going on there. Also was able to get down to the Benco Electric annual meeting for the actual meeting and visit with a few people, and that brings me to today. So that's the end of my report. Anything else to bring before this board?
Move to adjourn.
All right, a motion to adjourn. I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. Board meeting work session will start at